Welcome back to AM Northwest. You know, diet culture is so ingrained in our daily lives, we may not even be aware that we're part of it. Here with tips to help us break some negative patterns, we welcome back dietitian, author, and co-host of the podcast, The Body Trust, Dana Sturtevant. Good to see you again, Dana.
Good to see you.
Okay, let's talk about what is the toxic food and diet culture that you're talking about?
Yeah, well, culture is a set of values, beliefs, and practices that are so ingrained in our society that we don't even see them a lot of times. And the ways we've been socialized to think about food and eating and even fitness is so tied to weight and our worth that people develop really toxic ideas about what they should be doing with food and eating. And I, as a dietitian, I'm really astounded at some of the things people say they believe about food.
Okay, give me an example.
Just, you know, like I used to work in a health food store, and one person would come in and say they wanted the carrots, the tops of the carrots taken off because they were poison. And then I had another person who would come in and say, no, put the tops in because there's so much nutrition and value in them. I had macrobiotic people thinking that people who ate raw diets were wrong, and the raw food people were thinking the macrobiotic people are wrong. And like we have so many conflicting things out there, and nobody's even questioning the fact that why are we so obsessed with perfecting food in our bodies?
Right, and also the way we look. Like you get complimented for losing weight, and you say that's something we shouldn't even be considering, right?
Yeah, I think, you know, some of us grow up in lineages of families who comment on people's bodies.
Right.
You know, people make disparaging comments at the table, they're talking about other people's bodies or people at the table's bodies. And I think get curious about why it's been okay to talk about people's bodies.
Yeah.
We don't question that. It becomes so normal that then we do it around people, we do it around kids, and then we send kids.
Mothers often do it to daughters.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, whether their mothers are talking about their own bodies around their daughters in disparaging ways, or kind of food policing and body policing their kids.
How would you say it would be something that you can spot you doing? Like
how do you spot diet culture within yourself?
Yeah, that's toxic.
Yeah. Thinking about food as good or bad, right or wrong, finding ways to constantly thinking about how you're going to make up for your food choices in the day. Like a lot of my clients will like spend the evening like reflecting on what they did and then feeling guilty for their choices. So being overly rigid, I would say, thinking that one meal or day of eating will heal or kill you. For instance, you know, we talk about foods in such binary ways in diet culture, good, bad, right, or wrong, and there's a lot more room than we make for it. It's not as cut and dry as many influencers, particularly on TikTok. There's so many people talking about what they eat in a day. And most of these people are naturally thin. There's nothing special that they're doing, but because they're naturally thin, we think they have some magic solution or answer. And if we do what they do,
we'll be thin
like them.
You have some tips for us, and the first one is just stop commenting on bodies.
Yes. Why do we feel the need to comment on people's size? So, you know, you can tell someone, I love that color on you. But not commenting on, you know, like, oh, you look so good. Have you lost weight? We just assume that if someone looks good, it's because their body has changed.
Okay, and then stop commenting negatively on what or how much someone is eating.
Yeah, that's the other thing. People, you know, in restaurants, they'll look around and they'll make comments about people's food, or even in the grocery store. My husband works at New Seasons at the register, and he's like, I can't believe the things people say about their food, or the people behind the person will say to the person in front about what they have in their food cart. So what people eat is their business. And if you're spending time looking at other people in a restaurant and what they're eating.
I'm surprised someone does that, you know? But then I can see it too. Like I can think of people who made those kinds of comments.
And of course,
are you going to eat all that?
Exactly.
Well, yes, I am.
Yeah. You're going to go up for seconds?
Yeah. Gotcha. Stop watching and or making what I eat in a day videos.
Yeah, these apparently, I'm not on TikTok, but I remember the feature in People magazine where they'd have like some celebrity, some actress, and like, here's what I eat in a day.
And it's like 1 egg for breakfast.
It's really restrictive.
Right.
It's usually, you know, a lot of that stuff is made by people they pay to make it for them.
Oh, sure.
And again, it's this idea that somebody has the right way to do things. And if I just follow, if I eat what she's eating in a day, then my body will be like her body. And the truth is, our bodies are genetically predisposed to maintain a certain weight, and we can do all of these things, and our bodies are going to fight to be where they naturally want to be.
True. Let go of the binary thinking you're talking about food, eating, good, bad, and then like clean versus junk food, that kind of thing. Let go of that.
Letting, you know, food is flavored with meaning, and unfortunately when you live in a dieting culture, we lose track of the meaning of food. Like, we commune through food.
Right.
We come to the table and dine. It's where we experience belonging. And so we don't want to be overly rigid in the ways we think about.
Also, you make yourself feel bad, because I've done this. Yes, like you mentioned, it's like you go in your head what you had during the day, and then you think, well, I didn't run that off, or I didn't work, and then you feel guilty, and that makes it worse, because then you're going to eat more because you feel guilty about what you ate previously.
Yep. And oftentimes what happens is when at the end of the day, you're adding it up and you're like, well, okay, so tomorrow I'm going to, and then that creates like a Last Supper mentality where you're on kind of the screw it plan before bedtime.
Forget it now.
We think it's going to be so different the next day.
Right.
But our tolerance, you know, if people's tolerance to restriction is like, what happens with dieting is people lose their tolerance to it, so it becomes harder to pull off these rigid rules.
Right.
And if someone's listening and they're like, I can no longer do these diets, like I used to be able to do 6 months on this diet plan, now I can do 6 minutes, that's a sign of health, that your body is rejecting this.
Absolutely. Dana, thank you so much. I want to tell everyone the podcast is called, again, the Body Trust Podcast. Thank you so much. All right, we'll be right back with more AM Northwest. Stick around.